Hello again. Welcome back. Thank you for coming to watch some chess. See if I can't gain some rating points here. My opponent wants to give me a game. E4, E5. Okay. Let's see. We're just going to stick to solid. We go knight F3. I've been toying around with King's Gambit and Blitz a lot. And we get the Elephant Gambit again. This, I think that's what that's called. It's definitely a non-standard opening. And I'm going to defend. Make him push this pawn if he wants to kick me. Does that give me this? Check. And if he blocks, I can take. And then if he interposes, I can bring the knight back here to defend the queen. Is that my idea? And if he doesn't, if he just moves the king, then he's in trouble. Oh, he checks. He checks. That was a move I missed, but he checks. So I can bring the queen back to pin the queen, but my knight's hung. So I fell into a trap there. Oh, something's in my eye. Block with the bishop, and if he takes with the queen, which he'll be for, he can't take with the pawn because the rook hangs. And then I can pick up this pawn, at least get a second pawn for the piece. Let's do that. You can snag this pawn. Then I get castled, maybe? No, not immediately. This bishop would hang. He's got material, but I got a lead in development, and this king's pretty exposed. He spent a lot of time dancing around with this queen. Drop back here. I don't want to trade pieces because I'm down material, down a minor, but all of his pieces are still sitting back here. So development is my shot here. I'm going to castle, and then I have this bishop attacking the queen, and I can bring the rook over with tempo. So I'm not terribly concerned, even though I'm down a piece. This gambit cost him a lot of time. Okay. He would be happy to trade pieces. I do not want to trade pieces. I'm going to check. And that hangs the pawn. But I might be getting into some trouble if I take. Let's see. What happens here? Oh, that would just hang the bishop. Maybe this. Block that. And if he pushes, can I take? I don't really want to get my queen off the board. I can't take because the rook still pins the pawn. If he brings the bishop off this knight, though, that's mate. Queen and rook are nicely coordinated there. So he would do well to get some other pieces involved. And I also need to get some other pieces involved. It's knight out. Maybe I can push c4 and threaten c5. And really put the screws on that knight. Okay, so he protects the knight. Can I add some pressure with the bishop? That really takes away squares for his other minor pieces. What is his game plan? Right. Oh, yeah, he protected the bishop. Okay. Okay. I'm with it now. I've got my act together, I promise. So I want to really like to deflect that bishop. Let's push c5, c4, threaten c5, and tie the queen down to this knight's defense. He's got the rook coming to f8 as well. Could be problematic. Fine line between building a cocoon and tying your shoelaces together. This queen having to come back to guard these two weaknesses has prevented him from developing any of his other pieces. So I'm not really feeling the material deficit at the moment. Now I allow him to untangle, and that's another story. I've also got pawns. I've got so many pawns. He's got 4. I've got 3 pawns for the piece. 4 on 7. Okay. That is a decent idea. And it does help him untangle a little bit. So I'll block it with the knight. He wants to trade. So that would make his life easier. I don't want to trade. I want to maintain the tension. I check. No, knight takes, or rook takes. And the queen defends through X-ray. Defend with a knight. Attacks the queen. Queen trades. Knight takes. Queen check. King d8. And my rook is hanging. This is my move. He gets his bishop developed. Otherwise, the pawn hangs. Then I bring my bishop out to add pressure to the knight. June of 2023. So many new accounts. So many new accounts. A lot of them from India. I have seen a lot of new accounts in India over the last couple of years. Very nice to see the chess explosion. Okay, so what are his other options? I mean, I can't see how he can afford to neglect that development. Okay. So now I've got this. And the threat is to push the pawn attacking the queen. Now 3 attackers and 3 defenders, including... Oh, he sacks the rook. He sacks the rook. Now he's got to be careful because this knight's pinned. If he blocks the square from the king, all right, he just wants to trade. Wants to trade, trade, trade. He's got 2 miners for the rook. I've got a lot of pawns, though. If he goes knight here, it's mate. He can't do that. He's got to develop his knight over here. Bring his king here. Then I can attack the queen. And the queen is forced off the protection of the knight. So that would be big trouble. He's still tied up over here. Hmm. Those poor pieces. He's got 2 knights for a rook, but he can't use them. Well, he's got 2 knights for a rook. I've got a rook and 3 pawns. 4 pawns. 3 pawns. I have a rook and 3 pawns for 2 knights. Not a bad deal for me. I enjoy the nuances in chess on the of like unbalanced material and say unpins. He goes king here. When some positions warrant knight still pinned by the queen. And I go rook here, threaten to stack rooks. Rook here. He still can't go knight here. But yeah, he can. Yeah, he can now. Because the knight is not pinned by the rook. The queen can't move and deliver that check. Queen is currently tied to the defense of the knight, though. So why don't we chase the queen? Force the queen back. And that will still prevent him from developing his knight here. Okay, he doesn't develop his knight there. He develops his queen. He moves his queen there. Now seems like a great time to stack rooks. Maybe here. Right here to keep an eye on this square. Prevent any ideas of like bishop there and queen here. And if he runs with his king, his knight hangs. So hide his shoelaces together. Those off-beaten gambits can have lots of tricks and traps like that, but they're offbeat for a reason. I suspect a lot of lower rated players would crumble. Oh, opponent resigns. Good game. I was going to say I would suspect a lot of lower rated players in my position with white pieces would have crumbled after losing the piece, but it took me a second to realize um, that I have a lot of pawns for the piece, and my position was pretty good overall. Black did have an edge for a little while. I blundered. So not perfectly. Black had an opportunity. Taking is correct. That's the correct move. That's my blunder. I shouldn't check with the queen. That did allow him an opportunity. So let's retry here and just do what? If I retreat, I give the pawn back and the material's equal. So he can take and I can just develop and get castled. And I'm threatening castling and moving the rook to the e file. So, I mean, this weakness isn't going anywhere. So, yeah, I did hit retry, so I probably just bring the knight back. A mistake also. So, what's the best move? Back here. Interesting. I'm sure there's some sort of theory behind why that's the best move, but um, I suppose it doesn't allow the pin. Doesn't allow him to develop the bishop with tempo. Okay. Well, that was the correct move. Opponent made a mistake there, taking away a developmental square for his knight. Attacking the queen here was just, he needed to get pieces out. Not my best move. Inaccuracy. He wants me to stay on this diagonal. Or maybe pressure the B pawn. And I'm up 0.6 here. I'm down piece for 2 pawns at the moment. Yeah, I have 7. He has 5. So I've got 2 pawns for the piece. But my position gives me a 0.6 edge because his development is sorely lacking. That's a miss. I shouldn't have attacked the queen. That seems like a good move, though. So maybe the rook first. Yeah, rook first and threaten the discover. Makes sense. Okay. And this allowed this, which I did not want, but I checked first, which is my best move. And that was a blunder. Give me 4 points of edge here. 4.2 on the eval bar. He probably should have brought the bishop back to defend, keep this pawn defended. The bishop would have been pinned, but the knight would have kept defense on the f pawn. And now his position crumbles. F4 or C4 was good. C4 was good. There's obviously something better. What's better? I was thinking about bishop here. And I was thinking about bishop here. Knight a3 with the idea of knight c4. Maybe it is just piling up pressure here. No, Took it too long. It's good. What's best? Attack the rook. Okay, but then the rook just come here. But then I can bring the bishop back and check the king and win the rook. Okay. So another questionable move there, inaccuracy. That made sense though. He should have just attacked the queen. Huh. But he gave up the rook for the bishop. And I feel really good about this position. This is just a winning position. I'm up 7.9. 7.9 because these pieces are just useless. I have 3 pawns for the piece, 3 pawns and a rook for the 2 knights. And yeah, this is just crushing. Stacking the rooks, my best option. I'm going to bring this other rook over here, and I'm going to win that by force because there is no other protection for it. He's got to abandon the knight. All right, good game. Thanks for tuning in and watching another chess game with me, and I'll try to get a few more of these up in the next couple days. Had a lot going on, but stay tuned for some more. Thanks.